Hi, today I'm making a Christmas cake. This is a famous rich cake that we make for Christmas in Sri Lanka. This is a little bit of work, of course. How can you make a rich cake just like that? So, effort is really worth it because the taste is absolutely delicious, and this is something you can keep for months and even years. It may seem like a lot of work, but actually it's not that bad. It's just chopping the fruits. My recipe is really easy because I don't chop the fruits really small. I make sure to chop them big so that when you bite into the cake, you know what you're eating. Some people chop the fruits really small. I like it a little bit of crunchy pieces. Even the raisins and the dates, just give a slight chop. You don't have to chop every raisin, just a slight chop like this. All the others are little bite-sized pieces. I have the fresh cashew here, not the roasted one. You can use the roasted one. So I'm roasting the cashews lightly. Mixing all the fruits in, the raisins, the sultanas, the currants. Already it's so colorful and beautiful. And of course the dates, you have to stone the dates and chop it up. Adding some colorful mixed peels here to give some additional color to the cake. This is the ordinary candied peel, you can see, and make sure to put all the juices that you get with the preserved fruits. This gives an additional liquid that gives a nice moistness to the cake. I'm adding the chaw. Well, as you can see, it's quite big, bite-sized pieces. That's nice to bite into. This is ginger preserve. You can see I have cut the ginger preserve into little smaller pieces. No one wants to bite into big pieces of ginger. And this is the pumpkin preserve, that is puhul dosi. The roasted cashew. You can add the cashew at this time, or you can even add the cashew when making the cake. It's up to you. I got the lovely red cherries, so you can add the red cherries. If you have the green cherries, you can add them as well. Cherries give a beautiful color, and of course it's tasty. I have the rind of 2 limes here. That in, and now we're getting ready to mix all the ingredients in a bigger bowl. I found that this bowl is too small to mix, so we are going to mix it in the bigger bowl, and of course keep it in this bowl. If you have a nice glass jar, that's perfect as well to keep this minced meat. Giving the ingredients a slight stir, now I'm going to add all my essences and spices. Starting off with my spice mix. So adding 2 tablespoons full of spice. I slightly roasted some cardamom, cinnamon, cloves and nutmeg, and I've ground it nicely to a very fine powder. Adding my almond essence. That's 4 tablespoons of almond essence. 4 tablespoons is 1 bottle. So doing the same with vanilla. 1 whole bottle of vanilla, that is a small bottle. That is 4 tablespoons of vanilla. But only 2 teaspoons of rose essence. I'm adding the golden syrup and adding the bee's honey as well. If you like to use alcohol, you can add 1 big glass of brandy or any type of alcohol that will give a nice flavor as well. I'm adding my strawberry jam. I have bought a big bottle of strawberry jam, so it's 1 cup of strawberry jam. I'm using half of this bottle. Mix all these ingredients thoroughly. It takes time and a little effort because all the fruits are really heavy, but make sure to mix it really well and keep it in a glass bottle or a glass jar or a glass container. I'm using my Pyrex dish today. We have to keep this for at least 2 to 3 days. That way all the essence, the fruits will get marinated and be really delicious when we make the cake. So my fruits are all chopped and ready. So until I make the cake, this is going to sit in my table for a good 3 days. You can use the same mixture to make mince pies as well. This smells like rich cake already. Now, today I'm getting ready to make the cake. This is 3 days after I cut my fruits. So starting off with separating the eggs, because I need 25 yolks and only 12 egg whites. So all the yolks go into a big container because I'll be using all of them, and the whites I'm slowly separating and taking the first 12 whites that I'll be using for the cake, and of course the rest of the whites can be used for so many desserts like meringue. Till the eggs are whipping, I'm going to roast my rulang. Very slight roasting. Egg whites should be beaten until it forms stiff peaks. Now my rulang is starting to roast. At this time I like to add quarter of the butter that I'm going to use for the cake with the rulang to melt the rulang and roast it light. Tilting my egg whites. Can you see? Yes. See? It stays perfect. That means the eggs are ready. I have cut a small strip of a 500 gram astra, so you know that we are using only 450 grams of astra. So I'm going to put a big chunk into my rulang. I'm going to roast the rulang slightly with the butter itself. Make sure it's on very low flame. Rest of the butter goes into the beater because we are going to start beating the eggs, the sugar and the egg yolks one at a time. I'm using brown sugar. You can use white sugar as well. You can see my rulang is roasted and ready. This is how it will look. While creaming the butter and sugar, I'm adding one yolk at a time and continue the beating until the sugar has completely dissolved and it's a lovely pale, creamy texture. "25 yolks, remember, it takes some time. You need a big beater as well." You can even beat it with the hand. It takes some effort, but actually making Christmas cake is a team effort. It's a family thing. So it's quite fun doing it with your family by hand. Preparing the baking tray is an effort as well. Put about 6 layers of newspaper at the bottom and then top it up with some parchment paper so that we can bake the cake without it getting burnt. Since we are adding a lot of fruits, the fruits will go at the bottom and it will tend to burn. So make sure to put these layers of paper. The cake is baking in a low heat anyway, but it's better to add the paper. So I've got my egg, sugar, butter mixture ready, and I'm adding a rulang to it and mixing it. Add a little at a time and mix it so that it gets mixed really well. When that is mixed properly, you can start adding all the fruits that we cut and kept 3 days back. They're all ready to go. See how beautiful it looks. It even smells like a rich cake already. All the fruits have got infused with the essence and the honey, and it's really smelling lovely at this moment. No wonder this is a festive cake. It looks so festive, smells so festive already. Mixing this is quite a task. Even this bowl is not big enough. So I'm going to mix it in 2 bowls and remix both together. So it's a lot of effort. I'm using my beater bowl as well. You can see I'm putting half into the beater bowl and I'm going to mix these 2 mixtures. If you have one big bowl, well, you're lucky. That's really easy. When all the fruits are ready and mixed, well, that's the time to add the egg whites that we beaten earlier to stiff peaks. So slowly fold it in. Don't beat it too hard. Just fold it in. Keep on folding it till everything has combined beautifully and is one homogeneous mixture. I'm using parchment paper. However, it's better to get the parchment paper also buttered. So use some butter and nicely apply it around the cake tray. My husband helps me to get the cake tray ready. And then he says he helped me make the cake. But I must admit, he's so helpful. He stayed all night until I cut all my fruits for the cake. And even when making the cake, though he can't cook, he loves to help. So the cake bakes in a slow oven and for about 2 hours. Just make sure in 1.5 hours you just send a thin skewer or a toothpick and see whether it's coming out clean. Then you know the cake is ready. Also make sure to put the cake on the top layer when baking so that it doesn't bake too fast. Now both my cakes are baked and ready. I'm going to keep it to cool completely before I do the marzipan icing on top. Almond paste is completely optional, but it's nice to have. Today I'm making my own marzipan. It's fun, it's nice, and it's much yummier and easy to work. The cashew nuts, or if you have cashew powder or almond powder, you can use that. And some icing sugar, a pinch of lime juice, and egg whites. So these are the way you can use the egg whites that we have left over after making the cake. Just put everything into the grinder with a little bit of almond essence and you get a nice thick mixture. Add a little bit of icing sugar and almond powder and make a nice dough. It should be a soft, nice, very pliable dough. You can use this almond paste to decorate anything. You can even make little fruits out of this and it's really delicious. I'm adding a little bit of icing sugar and I'm kneading it until it's a consistency that we can work with. You can form a ball and it stays beautifully. And voila! Just like that, almond paste is ready. Now to ice the cake, I'm taking about 2 tablespoons of jam, that is strawberry jam, and I'm going to melt it in the microwave. When your jam is melted, just rub it on top of the cake. That's for the almond paste to stick onto the cake nicely. So my small cake, I thought I'm going to do a lovely decoration, and for the bigger one, I'm just going to cut squares. Now let's see how we can get this almond paste on top of the cake and do a lovely decoration to make it festive, Christmassy, and very decorative for the table. You can just eat the Christmas cake as it is and it's wonderful and delicious, but all this is a special treat to make it look gorgeous. And remember, Christmas cake is much nicer when you eat it after about a week. So make it a few days earlier because freshly made Christmas cake is not the best. You have to leave it for some time to get the best taste. It's like wine. They say a good wine takes time. So does a good Christmas cake. I have figured out an easy way to do this almond icing on top. So take some clear wrap and put a blob of almond paste and fold it with clear wrap back again. So we are sandwiching it with clear wrap and then nicely roll it. So it rolls evenly and it's easy, it doesn't break when you put it on top. When rolling, don't roll it too thin and make sure to keep the same shape as the cake you're going to frost. So it's easy to place it on top. And make sure it's not too thin so that it stays beautifully on top. See how easy? You just place the almond icing on top of the cake and then slowly remove the clear foil away, and then you have a perfect cake topped evenly and nicely. You can cut the edges, but even if it's dripping a little bit, you can keep it. It's like snow frosting. So I'm cutting the edges, and if you feel there are edges that have not got the almond topping, you can just remove the piece and fix it. Make sure the cake is not on top, so use the white one, the fresh one, so that you can patch it up easily. Just put a piece and then start just rubbing it nicely. It patches beautifully. I'm doing the same with my bigger cake. I'm going to top with the almond frosting just on top. So the layer of almond marzipan goes on top of this cake. Same method. Just rub the jam that I have nicely melted and just place the marzipan on top. If the marzipan breaks, don't worry, it can happen, and it does happen. You just take another piece of marzipan on top and just patch it up. It's easy to patch up marzipan. It's like clay, it's like Play-Doh, very easy to work with. Extra marzipan could be given to the kids to make little animals or little fruits. They'll enjoy it and love eating it. So for my decoration, I'm going to get some color for the marzipan. So I'm going to add a little bit of green color and red coloring and roll it nicely and mix it, and then you have colored marzipan to decorate the cake. If you have little ornaments, you can use them as well. Can't miss the snowflakes for a Christmas cake decoration. So just dust some icing sugar on top. If you have cookie cutters, just place them on top like the way I placed my star. And as soon as you take it out, you'll have a lovely stencil. You can even use paper cuttings for this. So this is my Christmas cake from my home. I hope you enjoy it as much as everyone at my place does. I hope you enjoy making it as well. It's a little bit of work, but it's for an occasion after all. So until I meet you next, happy cooking, enjoy the video, and please subscribe to my channel. Until I see you, bye for now.